Hello everyone, I've come on to share with you another entry into my giveaway and also to show you the process of making the coasters. So this package arrived yesterday and the parcel is wrapped up in this lovely blue tissue paper, and actually I'll show you the card. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful, beautiful. So it's layered up, black card, then maroon, then more black, piece of white embossed or textured card, followed by a piece of cream card, a little piece of it's like hessian or straw, and these beautiful dried leaves and this dried flower, all very delicate, tied with a raffia bow and 4 little pearls in the corners. And it says this is from the lovely Anne Lane. She doesn't have a channel on YouTube, but she's very supportive of many of us, and she does have a very active Instagram account. So she said, here is my entry for your amazing giveaway. I've not got a lot of napkins, but I've sent you 3. Hope you like them. Thank you for the opportunity. Crafty hugs, Anne. So beautiful card, and these are the lovely napkins that she has sent me. So she sent me this beautiful one with butterflies on, and then another one with bees, gorgeous, and then this very pretty floral one. So these are all very useful, and they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But I'm going to show you now what I've been creating. I've been a little bit busy today in between other things, so I have used some of the napkins. As you can see, I've been quite busy. Let's just move this out of the way. I'm sorry for the messy background, but this is a messy job. So you can see I have been very busy. I'm just going to move the camera slightly so you can see. There we are. So, and I've been trying out different things as well. So, but I thought I would just take you quickly through the process. So, so what I've done is that things are in various stages. And so the first stage is that when you get the napkin, it's usually got 2 or 3 layers of tissue. So you need only the top layer. So you have to carefully take away the second and third layers. Now I'd already taken one off this napkin, and then I realized that there were 2. So so you just carefully take it off. And a trick, if you can't get it going, if you just put a piece of sellotape on the underneath and pull it, you should get a hole. And it doesn't matter really if you cut a hole or you get a blemish, a flaw in, if you get something like this, a rip in your tissue, it doesn't matter because you're going to be sticking it down anyway. Now you see I've put 2 holes in this napkin already, because I'm going to be trying a different technique which I'll come on and show in another video. Okay, so I'm just going to put these out of the way. Yeah, I only need 4. So right, okay, so I've got things at various stages so that you can see the outcome, because you have to wait for things to dry. So you can see this on this. Yeah, right. So first of all, I've got my tile, and I have just put 1 layer of Mod Podge on this. Now Mod Podge does actually dry quite quickly, so I don't know if you can see that there's it's just so that the glue has something to grip onto. And so the first thing that I do is I'm using Mod Podge, but you can use other mediums to do this. And I'm just putting down a layer of Mod Podge, not over the whole tile, but just over part of it. And I'm just thinking, oh yes, that's right. I was thinking, what image am I going to do? Well, first of all, actually, of course, you have to choose your image. So I have chosen to go with this paper here, this strawberry paper, and I have cut out an image which roughly fits the tile. Okay, so I prefer it to be a bit wonky at the edges, because that kind of makes it blend in a bit better. Now you have to be very careful with the napkin, because when it's wet, of course, it's very fragile. So I'm just going bit by bit, because with this one I'm covering the whole tile, so I just want to go a little bit at a time. Okay, sometimes I use my fingers, sometimes I use the brush, but so in this case I'm just going to use my fingers just to bring it down. If you're doing a circular one, you have to start in the middle and work outwards, so that you get a fairly smooth application. Okay, so I hope we're still in shot. Yeah. So I'm going to just put the last bit of Mod Podge down, and there we are. So you can see I've put it down now, and then you go over the top with the Mod Podge as well. As I say, if you're doing it without your fingers, and you just, I'm just going over now, just trying to smooth everything out, because there are a few air bubbles. I don't seem to be able to get all the air bubbles out, but I don't mind that. And you see here I've broken my napkin. Don't know if you can see that, but that's not the end of the world. We just keep going, because there are ways around this. Right, so this napkin I will show the finished process in the next video, okay, because I have to wait for the Mod Podge to dry, I have to trim the edges, etc. So we'll look at that in the next video. Okay, so here I've got, as if by magic, I've got a napkin that I have already stuck down. I haven't stuck down the edges, and that's on purpose, okay, because I'm now going to rip these edges off. Now you can use water to do this. I'm going to show you that now. Water brush gone. I had one out. Okay, so I'm just using a water brush, but I mean, you can just use an ordinary paintbrush really for this. So you can just go along the edge. So you can just wet along the edge, and when you do that, the napkin just splits, and it's much better to have a sort of a fluffy edge than a straight cut. I mean, I could go around with scissors or a craft knife and do this, but the fibers blend in better if it's not a harsh edge. Okay, so you can do it this way, as I said, with the water brush. You can do it just dry and pull it off, or you can get a nail file and pull as much off as you can, and then just file off the rest of the edges. Okay, so that's more or less done. Okay, and so I'm just going around the edge to get as much of the paper off as I can. You might pull off a bit that's stuck already to the tile, doesn't matter. Okay, the important thing is that you get all those loose bits off. Okay, so I've got the loose bits off now, and the next stage is to give it another layer of Mod Podge, because it's a coaster. It's going to be used, it's going to get wet. It's going to be used with hot coffee or tea or whatever, and you might spill the tea or coffee. The whole purpose of a coaster, isn't it, is to prevent damage to your furniture, or coffee rings, coffee stains, things like that. So so I'm just going, first of all, I'm going around the edges just to make sure that any of those little ends that I've just been attending to get a bit of Mod Podge and get stuck down. Okay, and then I'm just going all over the edge. So this one is already dry from the first layer, which is what's important. So I'm just going to give it a good layer of Mod Podge now, because Mod Podge is dishwasher. This one is dishwasher safe gloss. Okay, so it's a water-based sealer, glue, and finish. So you can actually use this, and you don't have to add anything else to it. But that's entirely up to you. The last ones I made, I did varnish them just to give a really strong seal, because I didn't want them getting scratched and that. And you do have to be a bit careful of the paint underneath, the gesso or whatever you put underneath, because of course when it gets wet, which it does with the gesso, it lifts off. So you do have to be a bit careful. Okay, so I've put the second layer of Mod Podge on, and then so that really is the basic tile. Now this one, when I've let this dry, I might add a bit of color too, because it's quite pale. All right, and I've also got the sides of the tile showing. You can see the sides. So I like to put gold leaf or something around the edges, like I did this when I was showing you the gold leafing, my experiment with the gold leaf that I got from Craftspire, and I put it on before I put the napkin on. So that is one way of doing it, and then the other way that I've just done this one. Right, so this one's a little bit wet, where I have used silver gilding wax, and I actually find that the gilding wax gives a better finish, but that's just my bad technique probably with the gilding flakes. So I'm going to, this one has already had its second layer of Mod Podge and it's dry, so I'm going to bring in the gilding waxes. Now I've got a few, but I think in this instance I'm going to use the gold one. I've also got bronze. I've got this glimmer paste from Nuvo, which I think probably would work. It's nice and sparkly. And I've got this metallic gilding wax called Pearl Moon, but I think that's going to be, it's not going to be dark enough to cover the color of the tile. I've also got this rich copper from Art Alchemy. So, you know, so I've got some different waxes and things which I could use, and I like to put something that kind of matches the color of the napkin. So here we go. Move these things out of the way. So I've opened up my pot, and I've got a little bit in the, you don't need very much, I've got a little bit here in the lid. I put it on my finger, and then I just rub it along. Sometimes it takes a bit more to put on than others. I don't know why that is. Perhaps get a bit more gilding wax, because I haven't got enough. Yeah. Okay, so I just rub it in. There we are. Nice. But with this one, for some reason, it's not sticking to the glazing of the tile. So that last edge that I did, I actually had quite a lot on my finger, and that seemed to go on better. So let's try that again. There we go. So it's just a matter of trial and error, really. And if anybody's watching and has got some tips for me, I'd be very grateful to know any of your techniques, or if you see something that I'm doing that I could do better, please tell me. So, as I said, I will be on again to show you another technique, rather than just covering the whole tile, which is what I've done in this instance. Well, in all of these instances, actually. Okay, so there we are. So that's the gold, more or less, around the edges. Just check the corners. A bit there. And you see it goes on really nicely and smoothly. It dries beautifully, and you're left with something which isn't showing the edge of the tile, which I think is nice. So, I don't know, get rid of as much of this as possible off my finger. So that's the process that I use. And then I finally, if I can find it, I had one finished one to show you. Oh, here it is. So this is one of the ones that I made a while ago. Now, of course, because I'm using tiles, the underneath is very rough here, and we don't, I mean, the whole purpose of using a coaster is to protect your furniture, so we don't want that scratching the furniture. So I have put some felt on the back. Now, this particular felt is sticky back, so it's very easy. Just cut it to the size I need and just peel off the backing. But I'm going to be running out of that soon, and so we will be using some ordinary felt and sticking it down. So we'll explore that together in the next video. So that's basically the technique. Now, I just want to share something else with you. I'm just going to move these out of the way. Just put my hand in the gold. Sort that out later. Right, I just want to share something else with you, which is something that I was trying out this morning. As you can see, these are all on a white background, okay, and the white really makes the image pop, okay. So anyway, I wanted to see what it was like if I used different colored backgrounds. So this one, I've used a blue paint underneath. This is exactly the same napkin, but you can see they look totally different. And so it's up to you, you know, what background you want. But this one here, you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the napkin finishes here. But because it's got that same color paint, it doesn't show that it finishes here. So I think that's an advantage. This one, this couple, I have used, this is a pearl background, this is a yellow background. So they're exactly the same image, but again, very different. And this one, the napkin broke here, and it took off the surface, the yellow surface that was underneath. But I was able just to put some yellow paint on top afterwards, and it's fine. They are a little bit rough, I have to say. All of them are a bit rough, and I think that's probably due to my technique more than anything else. But when you varnish them, oh dear, that's the one I had that I was showing you. I put the felt on the bottom. I can't see where I put it now. Anyway, when you varnish them, oh, here it is. When you varnish them, they become glossy, they become smooth. It's still a texture to touch, and I don't think that's a bad thing, because you don't want them slippery so that, you know, the cup goes flying. Okay, so then finally, I'm just going to show you these two, and to me, this is amazing. This is the same napkin. This has got a sort of turquoisey blue, this color blue underneath, and again, perhaps you can see at the edge here, the edge of the napkin has broken, but the paint is showing through, and I think you can see there that really you cannot see that that's the edge of the napkin, because when you don't have the sharp edges and you just have it, you know, fuzzy because you've torn it, it blends in better. So that's an observation of mine. And this one, this is on white, and it's more noticeable perhaps that the napkin isn't right to the edge here. So, you know, so I might try to touch this up with a bit of color, but for me that will be difficult, because getting the right color will be a challenge. One thing I did try once was to put some masking tape around and to gild the whole edge, you know, so it comes in quite a bit. That's a technique I've used as well. But I think if I just gild and gild over these bits, it will look okay. It'll have a sort of a more rustic idea. Now, in this particular instance, I prefer this one to this one. But in this one, I prefer the one which is white. So I think it just depends. And the bee one, I like them both. Okay, but I think it does just depend, you know, on what the napkin, the pattern of the napkin, and you have to experiment a bit, you know, and play around a bit with what you've got to see what's best. So anyway, I've kept you long enough. Thank you for watching. I'll be putting this up on Easter Sunday, so I hope you have a wonderful Easter, and thank you for watching. Take care, everybody, and I'll be back shortly. Bye for now.